morning, afternoon, wherever you are, good day. And this is part 2 to the first part of Jupiter and Pisces. I got to midway through the 7th house, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about the fact that everyone has a circle of life in their that they could look up. Hi, if you're just joining me, everybody has this circle of life, and we all have one pie slice that is designated or representative of Pisces. So even if you don't have any Pisces placements or points in your chart, the 4 directions of your chart, you still have a place in your chart where Pisces is occupying or flavoring. And so we're talking about Jupiter and how Jupiter expands. So go back and watch part 1 to get more on that. Jupiter expands anything it touches, for better or worse. And we've been through the last 2 years of Jupiter expanding pretty much Saturn's rule, and we've seen this in our outside world, and we've also felt this in our inside world. Even if you have a community or close friendships, they've been put through the test the last 2 years. And so this is really a time to celebrate, because Jupiter in Pisces is much more about compassion, love, unconditional love, how we're all connected, our soul essence and our spirituality, and how we are all one. It's the all one consciousness. So it's a time to really feel into that and look at where this is transiting your own house system to understand where you're getting this expansion, because we all are. So Jupiter will be in Pisces from now. It started December 28th and it goes until May of 2022. And then we'll go back in October to December. But we really are looking at these first 5 months here of Jupiter and Pisces, because it's first of all, Jupiter's going so fast through the sign. It's really expansion, until we get to May, where we're going to have a different flavor, which I'll have a video on for that. But we also want to look back to the last time that Jupiter was in Pisces, which it dipped into there a little bit last year, and that's when all things were opening back up. There was a lot of openness. And it's not to say that we're necessarily going to go there with this placement, but it is pretty likely that there will be less restrictions or boundaries in place, for better or worse, however you feel about that. And because Pisces kind of struggles with boundaries, it's this boundless energy. It's all one. It's everything. And so for better or worse, there is this feeling or this energy with Jupiter where it expands that. It also expands on spirituality, a lot of things that I talked about in the first video that you can go back and watch. So now we're going to start with the 7th house, which I talked about a little bit in the last video, and then I decided to make this part 2. So the 7th house represents that area of life, represents partnership. If you're married, it can represent your partner. If you're in a business that you've been in for 20 years, really close with a person, it could represent your business partner. Sometimes we will see, actually many times we will see in a chart, the sign that is, hi if you're just joining me, the sign that is the 7th house ruler. So if Pisces rules your 7th house, you might attract in a lot of Pisces into your life. Your marriage partner might be a Pisces, but also your business partner or the close people that you interact with, that you have a contractual agreement with, might be a Pisces. So what this means is that you're going to get an expansion here. It can mean marriage. It can mean moving in together. It can mean expanding resources by committing to someone or committing to a thing that's bigger than just you. So this could be in work. This could be in marriage or partnership. It can also represent the need to establish boundaries, kind of getting lost in your partner. It can be getting lost in the business. It can be a feeling of too much all oneness and not enough boundaries. So you want to be aware of that with the 7th house Jupiter, and that will also be true for the 8th house Jupiter. So we're moving into the quadrant in the chart for this period where it really represents relational situations, the 7th through the 9th house. And so that can be in all different types of arenas, but it's like interpersonal relationships. So, in the 7th house, there is a rebirth. Oh, there's 2 cards. Okay. There's a rebirth happening and a new vision. And so this is a really good opportunity as well within marriage partnerships and to fix something that has been not working, or to create a new vision together. It's like starting with a fresh slate, or starting with a new energy where you're not gripping onto the old ways or gripping onto the old beliefs about each other. So there's this possibility for rebirth and a new vision to come in. And this can also be, if you're not in a relationship, this can be in terms of a business idea or going into business with somebody. You might attract in a business partner or a situation where someone's helping you. Anything where you sign a contract. So it could be someone wanting, an angel investor. It could be someone wanting to give you a loan. It could be someone wanting to help you out. It could also be a new lease on an office or something like that with somebody. But in terms of relationship, if you're single, it could be bringing in that person. It could be a new vision for your life that includes another. So that's all the 7th house. We're going to move on now to the 8th house. If you have Jupiter and Pisces in your 8th house, we're going through the houses if you're just joining, and we're doing the second half of the chart from the 7th house to the 12th house. So if you want to watch the first video, that's on my profile to get more insight, and then this will be posted there as well. So the 8th house is represented by Pluto. It is very much transformative house. It has to do, where the 2nd house has to do with your money, your values, your resources. The 8th house has to do with other people's values, other people's resources, other people's money. And this is why it's the house of transmutation. It's the house of alchemy. It's the house of sex. It's the house of transcendence, because really where we grow and flourish the most, for better or worse, like even if things don't work out in a relationship, is in that coming together, right? And so there's so much that happens within that coming together with another, where we learn and we grow. This also is the house of inheritances. So when Jupiter's transiting here, there's some mystery money could find its way to you that belonged to someone else, that wasn't from you earning it necessarily, but was gifted to you or bestowed to you. So this could also, again, be that loan or that investment coming in. But you want to be cautious here, because specifically with the 8th house, you want to make sure it's really clean, because there can be this sense of over-giving or over committing to something, where you need to just really make sure that their clean energy and your clean energy within that giving and receiving. This also can have to do with better mental clarity, better mental health, because Jupiter is the benefic of bringing that to Pisces, whereas Neptune is there too, so you really want to be cautious when Jupiter and Neptune conjunct. That might be a little different, but overall this could be a time of gaining help, resources from another, to have more mental clarity, to maybe start going to counseling or getting a coach or something that's helping you process and clear out of the old baggage, the old energies. This can also be a lot of family stuff that you've been carrying that isn't really yours to carry. This is 8th house. So with that, just being cautious of when Jupiter conjuncts Neptune, where you might be challenged in that. But overall, this looks like a good transit to gain that clarity. Okay, I'm going to see what card for the 8th house. Yeah, well, I talked about transcendence, transformation in the 8th house, and really being okay with whatever transformations want to come through, because with Pisces, it is really important to be willing to go to the depths of the ocean. However, you want to make sure that you're doing it with a clear mind, not trying to reach that transformation, that transcendence with lots of substances involved, because the 8th house can be the house of addiction. All the water houses can really, but specifically the 8th and the 12th. Okay, I want one more card for the 8th house. Okay, so slowing down so that you can have that transformation, not rushing through things, not rushing to things, really taking your time from now to May is really important with this placement. Okay, so let's move on to the 9th house. If you have Pisces in the 9th house, you are someone who naturally is inclined to mystical information, learning, growing, maybe traveling to kind of spiritual locations or locations that have a spirit about them or a soul. And with this placement, Jupiter here, you might get an opportunity to travel. You might get an opportunity to go places, and you really want to take those opportunities as long as, this is important, it doesn't stretch you too much where it's going to be stressful afterwards or when you return. Now, this doesn't necessarily just mean physical travel. This can be expanding the mind, growing, taking a new class, studying something new. This is very much, 9th house Jupiter is very much about investing in things that are going to expand you, that are going to help you to grow and flourish. And so that can be courses, classes, and then also, of course, hi Jeremy, this can be becoming the teacher. This can be, because Jupiter brings in that luck and bestows the gifts, this can be stepping into a role of teaching or guiding others. Like the one example, this is not like for everybody, but the one example I think of with this placement of the 9th house Jupiter moving through here is, someone that's guiding others on traveling to like a mystical location. Not that everybody's going to do that, but it's that type of energy that you're stepping into that role, or you're learning how to step into that role. And the other thing with Pisces is Pisces could literally mean things in the water. So just to keep that in mind. Let's see what the card is for the 9th house, and then we'll move on to the 10th. So the card for the 9th house is listening to your inner voice. So there's likely, I love that there's dolphins in here, and this is a beautiful card for 9th house Pisces. It's just like really trusting what's coming through, really trusting where you're being led, and making sure that you are valuing yourself enough to step into that role, whatever that is. So now we move into the quadrant, the 10th through the 12th, where it deals with the outside world, whereas the 7th through the 9th definitely does as well. It's really growing into this 10th, 11th, 12th house. So if you have Pisces in one of those houses, your magicalness, your mysticalness is definitely more in the outer world or the outside world. And so the 10th house deals with our work in the world, but more than the 6th house in the way that like how you're viewed in your craft or your vocation. It's your leadership role. It's your public authority, the 10th house. And so if you have Jupiter, if you have Pisces here, again, it is some kind of work, even if you don't identify as being like compassionate or magical being, definitely other people see you that way, or your work sees you that way. So that is an asset to what you bring. And with Jupiter transiting here, it might lead to a raise, it could lead to a promotion, it could lead to a new job opportunity, or a new way of using your craft. And this is, I don't know if this is card, well, let's do another card, but the traveling card is here for the 10th house. And I just talked about traveling with the 9th house, but with Jupiter and Pisces in the 10th house, there could be some traveling happening as well for work or for a new job. You could be moving to a new location for a new job. Let's do one more card for the 10th house. Wait, hold on. My cards are all sticking together here, so it's making it a little bit more tricky to know which card. That was comparison. I don't really think that that's the card that I'm looking for the 10th house. I think it just happened to be sticky. Okay. And if it comes up again, then I'll know it was. Oh, bringing in a playfulness. Okay, bringing in a playfulness to your work, to your vocation. That's really important during this time. It goes along, the colors go really well with the traveling card. It's like, where have you been feeling like things are dull in your work, and where can you bring in more playfulness and more of this Piscean energy expanding into art. And you might be an artist with the Pisces in the 10th house, that you, even if you aren't an artist, you might have artistic abilities or poetry, some influence that you want to spend more time doing. So if it feels playful, it's a good thing to do. Okay, if you have Jupiter and Pisces moving through your 11th house, the 11th house is our larger community, our goals, our visions. It's it's how we connect to communities of people. So either, large groups of friends, or your community at work. It could be any community that you're dealing with. So for that placement with Jupiter moving through there, you could have people wanting to help you out in your vision, or wanting to help move you along. You might be able to rely on more connections with others, which is exciting. So definitely feel into that, and don't shy away from when people want to help you, making sure that you accept and receive that help or that assistance or support, whatever that is, because it's probably going to be trying to come through, and it's up to you if you're going to reach out and grab it, or if you're going to be like, oh no, very Pisces, oh, I'm good, I don't need anything. Because there is this sacrificing aspect to Pisces, and so it's important to receive the help that wants to come in. And this looks like not necessarily financial support. It looks like more friends that want to support you, groups that want to support you, and allowing that to come through. Now, on the flip side of this could be groups wanting you to support them. And this is really a time to not overcommit or to overgive. It's really a time to receive with this placement. So being aware of that doesn't mean that you can't help or do small things, but it's not meant to be all of your time spent doing that. Okay, 11th house card. Ooh, totality. And you can see the support from the community, right? It's you need each other to do the things that you need to do, and to trust each other, and to trust that, your vision is bigger than just you, and so it's okay to have others support you in that vision. So that's the 11th house. I think one of the things about the 11th house that is tricky with Pisces is there is this element of Pisces that is very intuitive. So you can feel if someone doesn't fully want to support your vision, or doesn't fully want to help. And so it's really important to use that discernment, but to also understand that you're not meant to read everyone and everything as deeply as you do. There's a shadow, sorry. So it's important to trust, still in the shadow, to trust if someone wants to help, to just let them, and let them be the ones to figure out if that's really not what they want to do in the end. It's not your job to see ahead, right? Okay, so Pisces in the 12th house. This is the natural placement for Pisces. And so with that, it's a tricky placement, because the 12th house is the house of Neptune. It's what you can't speak to, you can't necessarily see with the physical eyes. And sorry, my screen went dark, but I think it's okay for y'all. So it's what you can't see with your physical eyes. And so it's very important to trust your intuition, but also to really pay attention to your dream time. Any types of guides or support that you feel trusting of, that you are discerning and feel good about, can be helpful to get other eyes on the situation, to really, although everything is through the lens of everyone else's perception, it's good to hear what other people are seeing or feeling about whatever you're dealing with. And it can be with the 12th house, Jupiter and Pisces, that a lot of gifts are coming through from times where you don't remember having those gifts, or from places. It's the house of past lives, of dreams, of really the deepest spirituality. And so some gifts that have been suppressed through, early conditioning from our childhoods or whatever, are here. And so when Jupiter's there, it's expanding on that. And so it's important to have guidance and help with that process, and also to have your own discernment and make sure that you're listening to your own dreams and you're listening to your own inner guidance, because no one can really tell you how to use that 12th house energy. It's up to you. And so this is the house of spirituality. So you might be expanding in your spiritual gifts, or just, deciding that you want spiritual community. This is a great time. Hi, for just joining. This is a great placement to really dive into more meditation, maybe transcendental meditation, or something that really allows you to tap into that. Even this is the house of whales and horses, big animals, big mammals. And so maybe you take up some hobby or some, something that allows you to tap into that energy. Okay, so if you have this placement, let's see what card comes through. 12th house. You're reconnecting to source, and Jupiter here is expanding on that. And I'm just going to be honest, when that happens, it can be a little bit frightening. It can feel isolating. And so it's really important, again, to have that support and also to trust yourself that like whatever's happening is in its highest good. This is a house to really be cautious of not trying to run away from it or seek substances to run away from it. It's a good time period from now to May to journal, to tap in, and just, you know, be documenting what's coming through for you, because this is a big time. Okay, I'll do one more card because that card is like so duh for the 12th house. Ooh, I like this one. This is very fitting for this time period for you, because, you know, maturity, it's like you can see it in like a negative way, like you're maturing. And I think that some people see that as like, if you're not maturing, then what are you, immature? But I think of more the energy is maturing. Like it's time for you to step in. It's time for you to step up. And you're getting all these downloads and all this information. So make sure you're using it. Hi, everyone. So I just went through the 12 houses. If you haven't seen the first 6 houses, that's in the last video. And a couple of things I wanted to share. I'm still doing year ahead readings. So if you're wanting more personalized, because wherever Jupiter's transiting, it's probably making a connection to other things in your houses, other things in your other planets. So if you want a year ahead reading, which goes over the Venus retrograde, the Jupiter in Pisces, a lot of other things that are happening this year, and your chart and what it's highlighting for you this year, those year ahead readings are available till January 1st. The link's in my profile. Check it out. Get one. They're amazing. It's astrology and it's a tarot reading. So both of those, and it's recorded and sent to you in an email. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the 2 other programs I have going for January are Activate Shakti, which is for feminines. Hi, Kelly. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you yesterday. Hi. I'm going to reach out to you after this. So the Activate Shakti, which is just for feminines, and then Planetary Power, which is a group coaching program that is based on your astrology and helping you to utilize your astrology to plan your week, your month, your year, and do it in a way that is really individualized and paying attention to your specific energy that you bring. So it's a way to shift the whole paradigm. This is especially good. The Planetary Power is especially good if you have your own business or you're making your own schedule, because it allows you to go with the energy and get that boost of energy versus kind of trying to trudge through energy. So if you're interested in that, it's $333 until January 1st, and then the rate goes up. So if you want to do early registration for that, definitely reach out. I can give you more information about that. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a beautiful day. So much love.